What's up, Candy Lickers? Are you in? Sounds like you are if you're back again. It is another episode of Casio'S Cut.
Hey kid, look at me. Let's burn down the school with gasoline. Say hell yeah. Hell yeah. Say white trash. White trash. Hey kid, it's party time. We're kicking out the jams like the MC5. That's the way I wanna be. I'll be a white trash superstar. That's the way I wanna be. I'll be a white trash superstar.
Thanks for joining me again. Thanks to Funny Man for episode 2. Jermaine Funny Man Johnson. If you enjoyed it, I hope you dropped him a line and told him thanks for coming on Casio'S Cut. I'm excited to get into this week's episode. A lot of you know my radio background right now, currently on Jimbo and Casio in Huntsville, Alabama. You can always check that out at therocket951.com. I started in Gadsden, Alabama, but ended up in Birmingham with the Rick and Bubba Show, nationally syndicated show. And in between, I did a show with a really, really good friend of mine, Cole Cubelic. Cole Cubelic is a former Auburn football player, team captain down for the Auburn Tigers in the SEC. He is now working for ESPN, and we did a morning show together in Huntsville. That's how I ended up in Huntsville, Alabama, where I'm at now, doing the morning show with him. Long story short, we were at the wrong place at the wrong time, but we had a blast doing it. I think the fans that found the show, Cubelic and The Kid, I think they were a great group of fans. They were a cult following, and I just want to share Cole's story. I think he's got a great story. We have some fun times, so sit back and enjoy my talk with Cole Cubelic as we talk a little bit of sports. We talk about his background. We talk about sport, not a sport, and most importantly, we talk snack cakes. That's right, snack cakes with my boy, Cole Cubelic. Q-Kib Show rides again. Cole Cubelic is a man of many trades. ESPN SEC analyst, sideline reporter. Is that how you describe yourself?
Close enough.
What do you describe yourself as?
College football analyst
There we
for
go.
ESPN and the SEC Network. Sideline analyst for the Saturday night game on SEC Network.
I was much more professional than I said it.
I try.
If you are in the Alabama area, you're on the radio.
WJOX 10 to 2 Central, JocksFM.com. You can get the app, search WJOX. Three-man front.
Three-man front
That's it.
is the midday show.
There's a defense called three-man front that some people play. That's where we came up with that. It's like a defensive scheme.
I got you.
It's like a nose guard and two defensive ends.
All right, we're going to
You
get
look
in
confused when you said three-man front. Or
No,
maybe
no,
you sounded confused
at the number three-man front.
via
on
Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. I won't see this for a while. I'm at Cole Cubelic, but I am taking 40 days off social media for Lent.
Well, then this is going after Lent.
God, it's been so good. Let me tell you. Because you know how many people hate me. And so in the show, now during my radio show, I can say whatever I want, and I don't have to see other people tell me how dumb I am every day.
So
It's
yeah,
good.
so as we
good.
as we record this, it's during Lent, and Cole Cubelic decided to give up social media. And if you know Cole Cubelic, social media is a big thing.
It is.
That was a big give up for you. What was last year's give up?
Remember
was it social media?
Remember when we hit 1,000 followers? We were doing a radio show together, and we thought that was a huge deal. Remember you said, if you hit 1,000, we were doing a radio show together. You said, if you hit 1,000 followers, I said, if I hit 1,000 followers, I'll record my, and then at the time, fiance's dance lessons that we were doing for our wedding.
Right. That was big time.
We thought we were huge for hitting 1,000.
Okay. Well, let's rewind. we're getting a little bit ahead because we need to set the stage.
I got
Okay.
to set the stage here. I got something for you for doing this podcast.
Oh, okay.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
I got this for you, but in order for me to do this podcast, you have to accept it, and it has to go on your vehicle.
On my vehicle.
And that's a big commitment. But
It's a
I
huge commitment.
I feel confident that when you see it, you'll be fine.
Is it
putting
a
on-
flag that I have to roll
No, it's
up
not
in
a
my
flag.
car window?
It's a bumper sticker. It's a bumper sticker. And I know that's a big commitment. It's big. I get it.
Well, I have bumper stickers on my car,
So you're good.
So it won't be like
You might already have this one. Here, I'll present it to you right now.
Oh, okay. He's got a gift. This is the first gift I've been presented, and it says, "I heart gluten."
You always make the gluten jokes like it's not gluten free or whatever.
So if anybody knows that my wife, which we lovingly refer to as Big Booty Judy, is gluten free,
Correct.
So this hits close to home because.
But you do still love gluten, don't you?
I heart gluten. I do heart gluten. This is definitely going up. Okay, is this a window cling or is it white like that? Do we know?
Probably white.
So it's really gonna pop.
I don't know though. It could go either way.
Pop.
I didn't even think
if
about
it's
that.
clear, it's really gonna be nice. If it's white, it's popping hard.
Yeah, make it pop. Pop it like it's hot. I got that.
Yeah, I'm looking. It's white.
It's white. Yeah, it needs to pop. I got that at a donut shop for you. So I saw that like the day after you asked me to do this. I said I'm getting that for him, and he's got to put on his car. I'm not doing the rest of the podcast.
Well, if there's two things I love, it's I heart gluten and I heart potatoes. You know I love mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So and thankfully those are gluten free. So
what do you think about whipped potatoes? Is that kind of a cop out?
Whipped potatoes.
Yeah. They do that now. These fancy restaurants, they'll be like whipped potatoes or like some kind of hybrid puree potato, which is supposedly fancy. But really, I think they're kind of cheating because they don't want to. Remember your mom had that old thing. It was a handle with like two metal wires coming off, and then it looked like a drain, the top of your drain. Your shower drain. That's what it looked like. And you would jam it on the potatoes. My mother used to make me do that because she didn't want to do that. She had the handle, the two bars, and then literally a bathroom drain.
Not the same thing that you do brownies with. You're
I
talking
don't know
about
what that is. We didn't do brownies growing up, unfortunately.
Why?
I don't know, but
Were you
I love
against
them now.
brownies when you
I
were
was
growing-
not. My mom just didn't. We didn't do brownies. We didn't. She did cupcakes.
Well, the
time.
same thing that does cake batter. Those two little mixers. Brrr.
Correct. You had that, but I'm talking about the manual mashed potato deal.
Oh, a manual deal.
You smashed them yourself, and it was a handle with two metal pipes, or two metal bars, and literally on the bottom, it looked like what your shower drain looks like, and you just mashed them down. You had to manually mash potatoes.
Yeah, those are.
So I feel like whipping potatoes is kind of cheating.
They're half-ass mashed potatoes.
There you go.
Is what they are.
Yeah.
Well, I've said lately that I want to sound more fancy, so my favorite food no longer is mashed potatoes. It's a deconstructed baked potato. Because everything's deconstructed now.
Oh, yeah.
So the other
like
day,
Off-White Nikes.
Yeah, the other day my wife wanted breakfast, and all I fixed her, it really was fried bologna, but I called it a deconstructed pork fillet sandwich with a mustard seed puree, which was just mustard on top.
I did see just the mustard
Okay.
on top.
So
that was before my social media hiatus.
Oh, was that just before?
It was just before.
I slipped it in. All right. So Cole Cubelic, sports guru is what we'll call you, the short version. You former player at Auburn, correct?
Correct.
You were a permanent team captain.
Yep.
Which gets you what in the college world?
They did a brick with my name in it outside the stadium.
Okay.
And
in the history
my
of
name's in the program every year.
Every year.
Yeah, because I think they do all the permanent captains, I think.
So when you go to Auburn, Alabama now, and you go to the lovely Plains, the campus on the Plains, do you know where your brick is?
You gotta search hard.
Do you know where your brick is?
I know the vicinity, and
wait, the vicinity. You don't even know where it's at.
I have an idea where it is. It's where you walk in, like the recruiting lounge, and I actually have two because they do all the permanent captains, and then Tuberville did all the seniors that year because he said, we did a good job and we were picked to finish last in the West, and we got us to the SEC championship game. So he did all the seniors. So there's two down there that you can find, and I have an idea where they are, but. And then actually, I think Jay Jacobs just redid something where he did all the captains on the new entryway. So there might be three, but one's
Does
inside.
anybody have more than you? Because three's a lot.
I'm sure some people have a lot.
Yeah. I feel like
maybe they
lot.
lifted the ones out of the old ones and put them where the new ones are.
They just replaced yours, maybe?
Yeah, relocated.
So you played 97 to 2000.
Correct.
You were a center.
I was. 97, I was a special team specialist. I was an extra point field goal. special team specialist.
Special teams.
I was the end man on the line of scrimmage for extra point field goal. It's an important job. Yeah,
Special team specialist.
Yeah,
Not just on special teams, but a specialist for the special teams.
correct.
That's serious.
Oh, let me tell you, I was on the field for Jarrett Holmes' game-winning kick in the Iron Bowl, and
Okay,
I took out 2 players.
Let's talk
I
about
didn't take them out; they ran over me and kind of took themselves out. But I like to take credit.
Let's talk. Wait, let's rewind it a little bit more. Okay, you're from Homewood, Alabama.
Correct, where we sit as we are speaking.
Right. You've circled back home, where Jock
Sea
is.
turtle. You ever heard that?
Sea turtle.
Yeah. So I go to this party after we move into this house not long ago, and this lady is there, really nice lady, and she said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm originally from Homewood. I grew up here, went to Homewood High School." And she said, "And you're back?" And I said, "And I'm back." And she's like, "Another sea turtle."
Sea turtle.
And then I said, "Sure." I mean, it doesn't feel offensive, so I'm good. And she said, "No, the sea turtle always comes back. It always circles back." And I was like, I thought sea turtles
is that a
like
fact?
hatched their eggs and then left.
Yeah, they hatch them on the beach and leave their babies.
Because there's always the thing of will they make it to the water, right? But I
Right.
never knew they came back. Do they
Do
lay
they
their
come
eggs in
back
the same
after
place?
their babies are gone?
Maybe they lay their eggs
She-
in the same place.
As we record, your kids are here. Are you just going to leave them at this house and see if they grow up and come back
Sea
later?
turtles, man, they'll be here. No, they will not. They would not be here. You leave my children alone, they will not be there, and whatever you leave in their way will be destroyed.
Okay, so you're at Homewood. How is the recruiting process from Homewood? Are you playing center at Homewood?
I didn't play down of offense in high school, not one. I came in, we had a tight end reverse pass that we ran. I don't remember what the play was called. I think it was tight end reverse pass. And I was number 78, so I wasn't even going to come in and play and like catch a ball. And it was a wet night. I remember it had been raining, and I get out there and I put my hand in the ground. And before we get down and begin the cadence of the snap count, I picked my hand up and wiped it on my pants to get, because I was going to throw the ball. And when I put my hand back down, false start. So
That was the only
that was
offensive
it.
play you
When
were
we
in?
didn't even run the play. So yeah, they took me out of the game, and that was it. We never ran it again.
That was your senior year?
Mm-hmm. No, that was my junior year. Senior
you're-
year, didn't play any offense either. But I
You're
only
all
played-
defense, and you're how are you getting recruited?
That started my junior year, and teams started taking notice. Clemson and Auburn were like first in line, and then Alabama and Tennessee kind of started, and other SEC schools, and UAB, Troy were kind of in there early on.
Because
but-
I remember when I'm in high school, and the big dogs on my high school team start getting letters from schools, and it's like this big exciting thing
Oh,
in the
man.
locker room.
It's huge back
You're
in
showing
the-
them to your friends. Hey, we got letters. We got literal letters in the mail.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
it started where you get a letter. Like I think
We're
I got
interested.
a letter from Clemson, but I think that was because my aunt, who Hall of Fame aunt, who played basketball at Clemson.
literally in the Clemson Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think she knew the coach was like, "Hey, do me a favor, and send my nephew a letter."
Get some
And I
letterhead.
was like, "Oh," and by the way, Clemson was not what Clemson is now back then.
Right.
So it was, not that great, but it was cool. And then South Carolina started coming in, and Auburn and Alabama and UAB and Troy and
So did you have a team? Like, was Auburn your team, or did you go if Auburn?
both my parents went to South Carolina, and my aunt played basketball at Clemson. We moved to Alabama when I was 3. I didn't have a team growing up. I was a college football fan, so there was a period of my life when I was obsessed with Miami. There's a period of my life where I liked Notre Dame. I always liked Alabama and Auburn growing up. I liked South Carolina a lot, obviously, because I went to a lot of South Carolina games as a kid, just going and being a part of those games in that atmosphere. So I was always more a fan of individuals than I was actual teams. I didn't have one team growing up.
So then Auburn comes and they start giving you $100 handshakes and vehicles.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't that good to get any of that.
All right,
first
so
and
really,
foremost.
how do you end up at Auburn? What happens? What happens?
I didn't have a lot of options at that time, so we have to go back even further. 9th grade, we're running sprints in the gym, and I lunge forward, and my knee gives out, and it pops, and I tore my ACL. But that was 9th grade, and so the doctors I went to see said, listen, your growth plates aren't closed. We can't repair this right now. So I went 10th grade and 11th grade with no ACL. So I played my whole junior year, no ACL. Senior year,
What are you doing? Just bracing that up and
brace it
going?
up. Yeah, you got the old Don Joy brace, and
Is it pain or what?
Not really. No. Didn't bother me much
Because
back
there's mornings
then.
when I get up and I go, I've torn my ACL. at
Yeah,
some
now
point.
it's different for me with not just my knee, but a lot of body parts. But
That's why I'm like, can I tear my ACL getting
Yeah.
out of bed? Because I did.
you just go through it. And obviously, you're hitting the weights and you're growing a little bit more. I was about 12 pounds heavier my senior year, grew about a half an inch. So
How big are you?
going into my senior year, I was like 6'3", probably 270, 275. And it just couldn't hold up. First game I had what they call a pivot shift, which is where your tibia and fibia just kind of move and bang into each other because you don't have that ACL to support it. And had to have that cleaned out, had it scoped. Came back for the 6th game of the year. Same thing happened. My dumb ass goes out there on the first third down and tries to block a punt. The up back hits me from the side, pivot shift, and they shut me down. They said, "You're done. Gotta have an ACL reconstruction." Had ACL reconstruction on Halloween of 1995. So I played in 2 games my senior year, didn't get through a full game.
Senior year
So-
of high school, 2 games on your resume.
Didn't even get all through either full game. And so once that ACL reconstruction actually happened, that's when most schools just shut it down. And there were a couple schools, like, I wish I could remember who the coach was, but the guy who's recruiting me at Florida called me the next day. He said, "Hey, man, we like you. We think you're great. We wish you the best, but, we're not going to recruit you anymore." A couple schools did that. A couple schools, Tennessee, Alabama, and SEC, and Auburn were the only SEC schools that kind of stuck with me after that. I always wondered why Vanderbilt didn't recruit me more. And then I had a buddy named Chris Benton who was on my team, who was being recruited by Vanderbilt, ended up signing with Samford. He took his official visit to Vanderbilt. This is much later. And he came back, and he's like, "I talked to those guys up there about you." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "They love you." He said, "We put the film on, and we're watching from our junior year, and you're shredding people up." And they're like, he's like, "I got to ask you guys. My buddy's never even heard from you guys. They've never even called him, never came to school to see him, nothing." And they're like, "Oh, no. We love him as a player, but we looked at his transcript, and there's just no way in hell we would ever get him in school."
I was sitting there thinking, Vandy's got some academics coming with him.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I didn't have academics coming with me coming out of high school. So
I love they just went, no, we're not even going to attempt that.
we're not even gonna use the resources for that.
Don't even go somewhere for a year and come here. We're
Don't
good.
even get it started because
We're
you
good.
got a guy that's too short. He might end up being a good player. You got a guy who's too dumb. He's not just getting smarter. He's not. You recruit a 6'5" power forward, and maybe
Yeah.
he can get away with it. Maybe he grows. But you recruit a guy who makes an 18 on the ACT. He's not turning into like a 26 on the ACT guy. Like, you don't grow into that.
Not your freshman year in college.
Not
no.
any year in college.
No.
So,
All right.
so honestly, the way it played out,
Who's your number one recruiter then at Auburn? Because I mean, I think
Rodney Allison recruited me.
I mean, maybe a casual fan just thinks head coach is coming to everybody's living room, and that's not the case.
I never talked to Terry Bowden.
There's hardcore recruiting guys that talk to guys over and over again. Rodney Allison is your recruiter.
He was my guy. He was the running back coach. I never spoke to Terry Bowden in my hometown before I signed a scholarship.
Did he call you?
He called me a lot. We talked on the phone a bunch.
But never face to
Never
face.
came to school, never came to my apartment, none of that. Now, he was supposed to come to my apartment one night, and I think something happened with his travel. And then I didn't even go on an official visit to Auburn because the weekend I was supposed to go, I think, was like Snowpocalypse back in
93?
No.
Snowpocalypse was 93.
Okay, well, this would have been 95, whatever that snowstorm was
Okay.
in 95. And we literally couldn't get down there. They shut 65 down.
Did any coach ever come? Head coach come?
Oh,
to visit?
Rodney came to see me all the time.
Well, he's
head
a coach, but I mean, did any head coach ever?
I had separate meetings with Stallings in Tuscaloosa, like one-on-ones.
Okay.
And Fulmer, I believe, came down from Tennessee. And then Watson Brown from UAB, and obviously Larry Blakeney from Troy. Those were the only head coaches, really. So
Who's Auburn ended up being your choice? Who was number 2? Who was close second? Or was there a close second?
I mean, if it all would have worked out the way that before the injury, I wanted to go to Florida. And then
Who was recruiting you from there?
I can't remember the guy's name. And that had nothing to do with the recruitment. I just liked Florida. I just
Right.
liked the uniforms and the swamp, and they were actually really good.
So this
that
is
helped.
not mid-90s? Yeah, they
And
were
I'm
on
watching
fire
Kevin.
right
I'm
then.
watching Kevin Carter and Ellis Johnson, and those guys
They're out
play
of
D-line.
control.
Yeah, I just want to be one of those guys.
Right.
And so I think if it would have all just played out the way no injury, no ACL, nothing, it would have been Florida. After the injury, the way I was being recruited, probably would have been Tennessee, because at that time Tennessee had the most impressive facilities and they were good. And Tennessee was kind of rolling. You know, Alabama was on probation when I came out, so they only signed, I can't remember what it was, 12 or 13, something like that.
Is everybody recruiting you as offense? What's happening?
No. Most people recruited me as a defensive lineman, but I think Auburn got stuck where they needed an offensive lineman, and it was kind of the deal. They was like, hey, we're going to take you, but we're going to move you to offensive line. And so I knew going in that I was going to play offense, but it was the only SEC offer I had left. So obviously I was going to take it. I wasn't going to go – 17-year-old Cole wasn't going to go to Troy or UAB just to play defense. He was going to go to Auburn and play whatever the hell they wanted him to play.
Yeah, because in your mind at that point, it's
correct.
In your mind at 17, you're thinking Auburn's a bigger school.
Yeah, very different back then as opposed to now, where it's like you didn't have, there was no DeMarcus Ware and OCU Manura.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of those guys who had made it to the NFL from schools like that.
You're thinking exposure and the whole deal.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so you go to Auburn. You're going to Center, which is
head spinning, whirlwind.
That's not even switching to offense. I mean, throw you at guard is one thing. Now you're being a center.
Yep, trying to make calls, trying to snap the ball, trying to learn footwork. I mean, there was no shot that I was going to play my freshman year. 0%.
So you
redshirt, go to scout team. So I'm going against Mark Smith and Jimmy Brumbaugh and Casio'S and Charles Dorsey every day. Those guys are kicking my ass on a regular basis.
Okay. And how big are you now? How big? What's your biggest at Auburn?
Biggest playing weight or just biggest? Because I think I hit 320 at one point, but I played right around 300, 295 to 305. Like into the season, I'd be at 295, 6'3", 6'3.5".
Okay, so you're play. When do you remember the first? What's your first game in Auburn? First playing time period.
Like first
scrub time.
Yeah, I mean, I got in a couple games in '97.
Which is your what? Redshirt freshman?
That was my redshirt freshman year. Yeah,
and you're getting in a center.
Back up behind Tawaski Dunnigan, and I got in late in a couple of SEC games, like late in the Ole Miss game. Obviously played in some of the non-conference games, but my real first playing time didn't come until '98.
'98, you're a sophomore now.
Yep.
Are you starting, or what's happening?
I was supposed to start and broke my foot 2 weeks before the season.
Okay.
So I had a screw put in my foot, Jones fractured my fifth metatarsal, and missed the first 4 weeks and came back. I don't think I started my first game back. I think Colin Sears started at center in that game, and then I came in for him and then just held on to it after that and started like the last 5 games.
Colin Sears, decent athlete.
Yeah, really good.
Didn't he end up in the NFL?
He was with the Cowboys for a little while.
Okay, so 98 significant playing time.
Yep. Not a good football team. Terry Bowden got fired halfway through the year.
Okay, so really not a good football
team.
team.
No, we're
3-8. 99 comes.
Yep.
A lot of playing time.
A lot of playing time. I was a starter going into the season. And
this is Tuberville's
first year. So started the whole year, but it was rough because he just beat us into the ground. Physically, just the most demanding off-season, 2-a-days, winter workouts, spring practice were just miserable, brutal. He legitimately took years off of our lives. Like, not him personally, but the staff did. Like, you ask Alex Lincoln or Rob Pate or Ben Leard, like, they'll tell you, especially the linemen, they'll tell you that off-season probably cost us 5 years. Like, if my life expectancy was 90, I'm living to 85 because of that now.
Just because you're just
we would go out for spring practice, and a normal spring practice would be 24 periods. That's a longer practice. Okay. Well, we'd get to period 21, and then we'd start the scrimmage, and they would just take the periods down, and we would just go until they were done. We just go. I can remember walking out of the facility after 9 o'clock multiple times.
Is that to get people to quit, or what?
Partially, I think so. Just partially who really wants to be here, who really wants it. Trying to create a different player physically, mentally, and emotionally. Thinking that whatever you've been through, whatever you've been through in practice, the game's never going to be as bad as that. Is what they put you through, and then just to weed some guys out. He wanted scholarships. I mean, I think he said it. I think he admitted it. Dean Smith actually referenced that in his book. He referenced Tuberville running guys off in his book, and because I remember T.J. Mears was my roommate, and he's a big North Carolina basketball fan, and he's reading Dean Smith's book, and he's like, "Oh shit, look at this." He's like, "Cube, Dean Smith talking about Tommy Tuberville." And he didn't say his name, but he was like, there's a coach in the SEC who's running off players who have already signed just so he can open up scholarships. And I was
he
like,
can get his guys in.
Right. I was like, he is talking about Tommy. Like, and we're kind of like, I wish we would have called him out by name so he'd quit pounding us into the ground. Then we go to two-a-days.
Does it work, though? I mean, do you think you got better?
He got some guys out of there.
Do you think you got better, though? I know it takes years off your life. Do you think as a football player you were better?
I think we were better for it the following year in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it made us better.
You think that year
we
you might have been too beat down?
We were dead that year. Our legs were dead.
So it's like the old it's clearly probably not as bad, but it reminds me of the old Bear Bryant documentary where they talk about him beating that team.
Now they might have been worse because
but I'm saying he did the same thing of I'm going to beat you down, and then all of a sudden they're like,
you don't have 2 days anymore, Casio, but back then we did, and normally you would go like 2 2-a-days and a 1 a day, 3 2-a-days then a 1 a day, or 3 days a day off and then a 1 a day, something like that. Well, so Tubbs sits us down and he says. And again, I don't blame him for any of this. I know what he was doing. He's like, we're gonna take care of your legs. We're gonna give you 2 2-a-days and a 1 a day. 2 2-a-days and a 1 a day through the whole fall camp. And we're like, hell yes, this is gonna be great. We will survive this. 13 2-a-days later.
In a row.
In a row. We're kind of looking around like,
we'll take that 1 a day now.
We were really excited at first. Now we're ready to die.
But you can't
you
say
get to that
our
point.
1 a day,
No, but you get to that point and you're looking at the film, guys. Like you're looking at these little runts that climb the towers in film practice, and you're like, God, I'd love to be that guy right now. I'm not kidding. Like you're looking at the equipment managers, and you're like, I would trade places with that son of a bitch right this second. Like if I could be an athletic trainer today, I would.
See,
if God came down to this field and said, you can trade places with anybody, it would be that manager over there picking up footballs.
I go back to high school when I'm throwing up steak fingers from lunch on after high school, and I'm like, I can't imagine 2 a days like college practice. I can't imagine what y'all are going through.
Oh, and then the other one was,
by the way, you're working out, you're going to class, you're also being a college guy, which is partying and having fun.
I mean, I didn't do much of that, but
right.
The best was Eddie Gran, who's now the OC at Kentucky, and I love him, great guy. And so Tuberville had this stupid rule that we were going to earn our way back to the real practice fields. So we practiced on the intramural fields, which were like half rocks and pebbles and that really like thin grass. Like if you fell in this, it was like
somebody's backyard.
Yeah, you're getting cut up. It's not fun. And so he's like, you're going to earn your way to the practice fields. Kind of like, the coaches that like make you earn your logo on your helmet. And it's like, what do you, if I don't practice well in 2 days, you're going to send me out the first game with no logo on my helmet. Like we're going to earn our names on our jersey.
You're going to get a helmet.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to get pads for the first game. Come on, coach. So we go over there and we had to walk all the way over, and it's like 5:30. It's the first 2 a day. Well, the NCAA rules are, I think it's 3 practices in helmets to get acclimated and get everybody back going. So we're over there in our helmets, and Eddie Grant's like, what are you guys doing? We're here for practice, coach. 2 days, getting cranked up today. He's like, no, not in that. Like, what are you talking about? He said, boys, we're full pads today. And we're like, later today? For the second practice. He goes, no. Now. Get back to the facility and get your pads on. We go middle drill, which is essentially O-line, D-line, running backs, quarterbacks, linebackers. Like no pass plays. You're running the ball. Everybody knows it's coming. Oklahoma, 1-on-1 board drills. Full speed pass rush. Full speed team 1s versus 1s.
You're going full blown hard.
First day. We were like, that set the tone though. You knew what you were getting into after that.
So When did your favorite coach, Coach Trickett, come into play?
Oh, he was there when I got there.
What's the story? He made you sixth string.
That was Hugh Nall. Hugh Nall did
Hugh
that.
Nall made you
Yeah,
sixth
Hugh Nall made me sixth string center. I had started for 2 years, going into my senior year, and
But you didn't have six centers.
no. So we what happened was I was injured. The foot injury I told you about before.
Yes.
So literally a year and a half later, I promised these kids that I would throw football with them one day. A couple of my teammates and I, like me and Leard and Ryan Hooker and a couple guys. So they come to the facility. We got on the practice fields, and they're 10-year-old kid Auburn fans. They're having a blast, and we're throwing football, running around, and I hear, like in my foot, pop. I'm like, oh man, that's not good. They go X-ray it. The screw's bent. The fracture line's reopened, so they got to get it out. So I had to take that screw out, put a new screw in, which is one of the scarier moments of my career, because when they took me up to Health South to do that surgery, James Andrews, who everybody knows, Dr. Andrews,
He can't fix it. Nobody
he comes
can.
over to my table in pre-op, and he's kind of got like that Steve Spurrier voice, like, well, yeah, I tell you, Cole, what we got to do, we got to get that screw out, and we're going to get a new one in. He said, but the problem is that bone around that screw is stronger than the metal, and it's bent, so when we torque it, it could break. And I was like, okay, what if it breaks? And he taps me on the leg. He's like, we'll let you wake up and talk about that then.
We'll let you wake up and talk
And
about
I was like, I look at the anesthesiologist, and I was like, put me out now. Out, over. And I was like,
it doesn't do that.
I said, Dr. Andrews, just get it done. Make it work. And so he fixed it. It hadn't given me any problems since, and he did it. But he literally told me he had never done one of those.
So your coach,
You get a guy like that tell you he hadn't done a surgery that he's getting ready to do
Right.
on you.
who's done everything.
Yeah, that's a little
It's a little
nerve-wracking.
scary.
So I had that. So I'm in a boot. There was no rehab protocol. I was non-weight bearing for like 9 weeks. I was in a boot for like 18 weeks. It was crazy. And so I don't go through spring practice. But they had me doing like carrying 50-pound dumbbells up the stadium steps and like pushing these sleds. So obviously I was okay, but they just didn't want me to practice. So a buddy of mine asked me if I want to go play on his softball team one night.
Oh God.
And so I go out there and crush
Oh.
I go out there and crush a couple softballs, and apparently somebody called into a local radio show and was like, Cole Cubelic, Kendall Simmons out here playing softball, and they injured in spring ball. What's up with that? And so he calls me to his office, and he asked me, and I was like, yeah, I did it. It's co-ed softball. I was the extra hitter. Like, all I did is go swing the bat a few times. And he loses his mind. He flips out. And so we show up for 2 days, and he's like, you're sixth-string center. Now, we had 2 centers. It was me, Ben Allen, and an emergency center, which would have been like Colin Sears. Maybe even Mike Pasillo could have been an emergency center, but that was it. He's finding guys to put in front of me.
He's putting special
And I'm
team
just standing-
specialists in there.
We're going through the shoots, like for individual fundamental periods, and I'm just standing with my hands on my hips, just watching all these other guys go. I'm like, I guess I'll get a turn at some point. So finally worked my way back up. I didn't start that year till the Iron Bowl. That was the first game I started my senior year.
Really?
Yeah, man, that was rough.
Because of
That's all-
injury, not because you were sixth grade.
No, because I didn't get my position back.
Really?
I did sublux my patella before the Ole Miss game, so I was out for 2 weeks because of that. But otherwise, I was healthy. And I remember we went into the Wyoming game that year, and he's like, "We're going to go 2 series, 1 series, 2 series, 1 series." Ben Allen was going to start, and Ben was a good player, and he deserved to play. And he went 2 series, and then I went 1 series, and then he didn't put me back in. And the only time I ever cried after a sporting event was after that game. I didn't shake any hands. I went to the locker room. I didn't take a shower. I changed clothes. I walked out, put a towel over my head, and literally cried like the whole mile down to Sewell Hall. Thankfully, my mom was there with me. Went back to my house, to my duplex that I was living in, and I didn't know what to do, man. I didn't know how to react to that. It was the only thing I cared about.
Just because there was no football.
Well, it was my senior year, and this was supposed to be like the best year ever, the best time. We won the game, so I'm happy we won the game. I'm happy for my teammates, but it's like, shit, man, I didn't play,
Right.
And if I was told that I was at least going to get a third of the snaps in that game, and I didn't even get it that game, what was going to happen the rest of the year?
Right.
So, I just said, my mom sat there with me, and she's like, you got to make a decision. You either do this, and you do it, and you get through it, and just make it the best you can, or just walk away now. And I wasn't going to walk away. just meant too much to me.
And then you end up in the Iron Bowl.
Started the Iron Bowl. Tubbs walking by me before the Iron Bowl and in the locker room. I'll never forget it. Right after Nall came and told me he was going to start me, I said, Tubbs, you got a pregame speech? And he said, nah, why? You got one? Kind of being a smart ass because that was Tommy. And I was like, yeah, I do. He goes, all right, it's yours.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So let me, just in case somebody's listening that doesn't happen to know what the Iron Bowl is, Alabama-Auburn, biggest sports rivalry. We're biased, of course, down here in the South. But
However, the Iron Bowl is only a football game.
I will agree with
Since
you.
we're talking
We've
about
had major discussions. I've heard your discussions. The Iron Bowl is the Alabama-Auburn game in football. Some say it's the biggest college football rivalry. They've now tried to make every Alabama-Auburn any interaction, the Iron Bowl, whatever. It is not.
No.
The Iron Bowl is the football game.
Correct.
Period.
That's it. Yes.
So if you are in the state of Alabama and root for Alabama or Auburn, the Iron Bowl, quote unquote, is the biggest thing ever.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
for you to start the last game of the season before any kind of postseason games,
It was huge.
the Iron Bowl is the biggest thing you can do. So for that to basically culminate your regular season and your senior year is big time.
Yeah, and we had to win that game, and Arkansas had to lose to clinch the West, and both happened.
Wow.
And it was the first one in Tuscaloosa in over 100 years.
That's big time.
That was big. That was huge, man.
So
It was awesome.
let me ask you a couple of quick college football deals.
And we won. That was the biggest part.
You never lost in Tuscaloosa.
I'm undefeated there.
And multiple things, but you are undefeated in Tuscaloosa. One, a lot of people don't know that me and you did a sports radio show together for a brief time period.
Use the term sports loosely.
Yeah,
Quote fingers.
we'll get to that in just a second. But during that show, I discovered that you claim you never had a holding period foul.
Never
You
had any penalty.
Never had a penalty
As
period.
an Auburn football player. Now, I did have 2 personal fouls in an All-Star game.
What, the North-South game, or what was it, Senior
No,
Bowl?
I wasn't good enough to play in that.
Senior Bowl?
No, I wasn't good enough to play in that.
Blue-gray.
This was legit. Now, I've got the jersey back here. We're in my basement, and I've got the jersey in
What is it?
Tupperware container over there. It's some All-Star game they just made up. I think I was the only Division I guy in the All-Star game. It was like Texas, El Paso, and I mean, I didn't even know I literally didn't know some of the schools existed, like Jackson State. And
It's just hey, we got a bunch of football players.
oh yeah,
Your
just
senior
one more
year?
chance to play ball. Yeah, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go play. Because I thought I was too beat up to go to the
And
NFL.
you got
really. two
personal fouls in that game?
I was the only Division I guy in
What
the
are
game.
they, chippy or what?
Oh yeah, and I had
Because
these.
it's all everybody's last game.
Oh yeah, and I had these 2 guards from Jackson State in Mississippi, and they were both behemoths, like 360 and 380. Couldn't move very well, but I was like, listen, here's what we're going to do. We were running zone scheme. We're going to latch on these double teams. Don't even think about coming off for the linebacker. We are just going to maul these guys like 6 and 7 yards deep. And so that's what we did first few series of the game, and the D linemen were they weren't happy. So they got up.
Where are D linemen from? Just, South Dakota Technical School or what? Nobody you can think of? They're that small?
Can't even think. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't even come up with it.
So Jackson State even goes, these guys are a small school.
Oh yeah. And we
Okay, and you're just
we were
bulldozing.
Peter rolling guys. Yeah. And they didn't like it, so they got up talking, and a couple shoving matches. Maybe a punch was thrown.
Maybe.
They're not kicking you out of an All-Star game.
Right,
Come on.
right.
I don't even know if they had another center, so they probably didn't have a choice. I think I was the only guy that could snap the ball.
You got a backup? No. All right, we'll just throw
I
a
felt
flag
pretty
on
good
it.
about throwing punches when they're like nobody else can snap. So.
Okay, so you're saying entire Auburn career, no flag whatsoever.
0 was never penalized. Never penalized.
Why didn't you hold? Did you give up a sack?
Oh, I held plenty. They just didn't call it.
Did you give up a sack?
I think I probably gave up like 2 sacks, yeah. Because, see, at center, it's different. It's at center, if the line misses an assignment and gives up a sack, I consider that on me.
Okay.
So I probably gave up a couple sacks, yeah.
I did no false starts, nothing.
No, you can't false start as a center. If you false start as a center, you should probably be kicked off the team.
You usually get
like these
that,
guys who give you the little
that weird movement.
just snap it. You can't be wrong. If you snap the ball, you can't be wrong. You can't. Because if you think about a quarterback sneak, if you snap it and just the center and quarterback go, it's a play. It's a legal
Everybody
play.
else is
Everybody
good.
else stays in their stance. We had a play called purple. It's freeze play. So the quarterback would go through the cadence, down, set, hike. If they jumped off sides, I would snap it, and everybody just stayed still, didn't move, but the quarterback would throw a fade. You'll still see people do that. They still run freeze play.
All right, so no penalties in your career, which is I always found amazing. Who is craziest guy you went up against? Who was? Hey, that was the guy that got up in front of me where I went, oh shit, next level.
Craziest or like best?
Whatever you want to do.
Oh, I played Gerard Warren at Florida was unbelievable because he was probably 6'3", 320, 330, and his arms came like past his kneecaps, and he played a tilt nose, a shade nose, so he was lined up on the ball but kind of
Facing
sideways.
your helmet.
Yeah, so he could jump you backside or come upfield, and he was number 3 overall pick in the draft in 2000. He was legit. Played against Marcus Stroud, Richard Seymour, both really good. It would be probably one of those 3, but definitely would be Gerard Warren if I had to pick one. Kendrell Bell at Georgia was also a dude that, hit me the hardest of anybody my entire life. Because Kendrell Bell, he played outside linebacker his rookie year at Pittsburgh, and he was Defensive Rookie of the Year. At Georgia, he gave no Fs about where the ball was going. He would just sprint towards an offensive lineman and put the crown of his helmet like right in your chin. It's the only time I've like legitimately been dizzy in a game. Like wasn't sure I could keep going.
Probably should have went in protocol.
He hit me so damn hard I didn't know if I could keep like functioning. Oh man, Kendrell Bell, he was nasty.
Was there somebody that was supposed to be good that you was like, I pretty much handled his ass?
I don't think I was good enough to really handle anybody. There were a couple guys that you just kind of thought like they got a lot of hype and they're supposed to be really good and they weren't.
You went up against those guys and nobody mauled you. So you said the NFL did just then and nobody was like they destroyed Ben
we
Laird.
played against Cornelius Griffin at Alabama, who played for Washington for a while. He was in the league for a while. We played against Alex Brown when he was at Florida. We played against some dudes, man. Like, thankfully, I was hurt for the LSU game, my redshirt freshman year, because Booger McFarland played in that game, and he shredded.
I should have a bumper sticker that says "I'll hurt Booger." So
yeah,
I'm a Colts fan and the whole deal. So I'll hurt Booger.
Kind of glad that I missed that one, because Griff Redmill will tell you, our friend that played Alabama, that still gives him nightmares. What Booger McFarland did to him. Yeah,
really?
Oh, embarrassed him.
Okay. So now, me and you meet after your college days.
Yep.
I briefly remember, we were just talking about it. I briefly remember a hint meeting you when you first, I was just starting in radio. You were just starting I guess it was just a football show with Ben Laird. You were on the Rocket in Huntsville.
So I knew the guy that ran the Rocket. And I knew I wanted to be in radio.
Which, side note, is I do a morning show now in Huntsville, Alabama. I do the morning show on the Rocket. At the time, I did not. I was on a syndicated morning show called Rick and Bubba. They were affiliated. Their affiliate in Huntsville was the Rocket. Yep. So you were going to do the weekend. You and Ben Laird, who was the quarterback.
They carried Auburn football.
Yes. Ben Laird was your quarterback at Auburn when you were there. So you guys are going to do a Auburn pregame show.
Pregame show.
Because they were an Auburn affiliate.
Correct.
So you came down, since y'all are affiliates, to do like an interview deal. I remember kind of meeting you there. But then you're out and about.
You were probably so tired because you DJ'd at a place called the Banana Pit or Bananas Foster's. Banana Club Banana. What was the name of that?
Joe's.
Banana Joe's
was there.
Who names their bar Banana
Joe's?
Joe's?
That was second.
God,
first
that
was
place
Tiki Bob's, remember?
It was Tiki Bob's
Tiki
first, which
Bob's.
is not much better than Banana Joe's.
Banana Joe's was the next.
We're going to have a Tiki Hut bar theme, and you're going to come in here and party. Good
Mine was around the
Lord.
block. Don't even act like it wasn't around the block.
It was packed all the time, but your options were limited at that point in time.
They were limited.
I don't know where else you were going to go listen to hip-hop music. And
I don't know where they went on
Bourbon.
Friday. Friday was dead. Thursday and Saturday was deep. I don't know where they went on Friday. I'm like, where y'all going? Tell me where to go. I'll go. I'll call in sick and go.
We just want to have a good time.
Right. So we meet. We're hanging out then. I don't know why we hit it off. You don't like gluten. I like gluten. We're totally opposite.
I love gluten, especially when it's on pizza.
So then we're hanging out at games. I go to L.A. And try to do my thing. I come back. This isn't the same show. You're doing a different show when I come back with Ben.
Now I'm actually doing a radio show now,
Right.
a daily radio
Now it's a legit show.
Correct. Yes.
So then I would come back and sit in with you guys then.
Correct.
On game day.
The signal was not legit, but the show was.
You heard it if you were in the parking lot with the speakers. Yeah. So then you're doing a show in Huntsville. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I've got the radio bug basically.
Yeah.
Because I started in radio, and I just love doing radio.
And you had a lot of time on your hands.
Especially Monday through Wednesday. So I sit in a few times with you. Just, it's a fun time. To me, radio's fun. And especially for you in the summer when there's no college football.
Zero going on.
A lot of time to fill.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
On a
you wanted
4-hour
to talk
morning
about
show.
the Braves, but we made it through it.
Yeah, I'm a Braves guy and you're a Yankees guy. So that was fun. And one thing led to another. So then we're doing a morning show together.
Let me. I'll take this back just a little bit. So, it was not the best setup, but I was offered a radio show and I went and did it. And so, when you're doing a show by yourself, you're looking for anybody to come sit in and help and just be a part and just do different things.
Especially for our talk show where there's
correct.
You got some commercial breaks, but it's you.
And so, I knew you were a sports fan.
Yes.
And obviously you were doing comedy and you had been in radio. So I kind of thought to myself, this could be something that we could take sort of the Rick and Bubba model, but make it sports.
Right.
Just basically do a fun show every day, but we lean more sports and give more sports expertise. And the setup in this studio, quote fingers, because I don't know if you could technically call it that. It was an enclosed room with glass, and I don't even know how to describe this desk to people. If you were to go to Office Depot in 2001, 2, and buy like a cubicle desk for yourself, it was L-shaped, but had the shelves that went up on both sides of the L.
But it's the desk that's in the red tag clearance because nobody bought it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't one that anyone.
It's not the fancy
you weren't
one.
bragging about it.
Yeah.
And so obviously, if one person's sitting there with a microphone set up, you're fine. So I invite Casio in to do the show. And what I didn't think about is that when he was going to be sitting across from me, those other shelves were right in front of our faces. So we're kind of like dodging left and right and trying to, we're going to break, or you have something here. And so, it was a mess at first, but it ended up kind of growing and growing and growing. And I still say, I still to this day say it's the best radio show I've ever done.
We had a train
Ever.
track out inside the window, which is not conducive to radio.
No.
And I'm talking about right outside the window.
Across the street, yeah. And it was somehow it was a stopping station where they would park the trains and at times lay on that horn for a good
really loud.
15, 20 seconds.
Because when they parked, it was in the intersection, so they had to let everybody know.
It was so hot in the studio, we had to open the windows
was
in
hot.
the summer.
I forgot
So,
about the heat.
Papa Remember Bands brought that tent in to those windows. Thank Jesus, he actually did that because that cooled it down by 40 degrees in there.
So we had I know we had fun. I don't know who else had fun, but we had a blast.
There were 2 or 3 listeners that had fun with it.
I feel like we had a cult following. I feel like it's like the Stern, like it's like the
minus the $500 million contract. Yes.
Well, yeah. But
and
I'm
satellite
saying
radio.
It doesn't even matter how big the listeners were. That the listeners you had were diehard.
Oh, we didn't have many, but the ones we had.
They were coming to everything. They were involved in whatever we did.
Yes.
It was number one. The Cube Kid
and
show.
Essentially put out death threats when they canceled that show to the management.
It was. We had a great time. So we do that show. So that show breaks up because the radio gods did not shine upon us.
I wouldn't call that guy a radio god.
I'll never forget you sitting in my apartment that I just got. I got 2 patio chairs. I got a love seat and 2 patio chairs.
Hey,
I go, hey, man, can't wait to get my furniture. And you go, you might want to pause. Can I come over? I'm like, what?
Yeah, call that delivery truck.
I want to. As those on payments, you might want to hook up with
I
that
got an
guy.
air mattress. I'll let you borrow.
Let's also go back to I love this story about when we were talking about it earlier, so we want to bring it up real quick, get some funny stories in about when we're hanging. So we're hanging, we're going to Auburn games, we're young bucks, and we're in Auburn, and our buddy David Lynham is playing at the War Eagle Supper Club. Rest in peace.
Speak for yourself.
Well, it's no longer with us.
No.
Is there anything in that place now? Is that gone?
The last time I drove by, it's still vacant, just a vacant lot. So.
So it's a very famous at the time. That was one of the joints to be in Auburn. Wouldn't you say?
If not definitely the late night spot. Yeah.
It's the place with live bands. That was one of the places with a live band to go to.
That's about it.
Yeah, that was about it. Other places had the DJs and stuff like that. That was live music.
No, yeah.
Standard dollar PBR deals. It was your standard college live music.
Cinder
place.
block building.
Yeah, no frills.
Mm-mm.
So
trough in the bathroom.
So this is
one 20-foot trough in the bathroom.
The standard trough. Yes, standard trough. So one is a day game in Auburn, and I come in, and I come in from Los Angeles, I believe. I do the pregame show with you guys. We go to the game. After the game, I say, hey, my buddy David Lynham, his band Lynham's playing at the Supper Club. Let's go down. And you go, that's great, but I can't go to the Supper Club because I'm banned for life. And I said, what do you mean you're banned for life? And you go, well, yeah, when I was in college here, they banned me for life. And I said, buddy, that was like 5-6 years ago. First of all, nobody works here from then.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember you walking up in here.
Why would a guy at the door remember the guy from
6 years ago?
6 years after he was in college getting kicked out of there.
Do you remember why you were banned for life, or were you just told you were banned for life?
Oh, I remember why. I don't know if we're
Would
going to.
you like to share, or we would pass later?
There's just a couple of instances.
So it wasn't one. It was just
the line to that trough was very long.
Okay.
Okay. And there was some line
to the trough. There's only so many dudes can get on a trough at the same time.
I mean, you can shoulder up, but you just can't.
And you're a big dude, so
right. And you just and then there's times when the things that you're doing in an establishment like that, you need to break in that line.
Right.
And
when you got to go, you got to go.
Or there's other times when you see a Pac-Man machine and there's a space behind it, and it resembles a trough, and a bouncer watches you do that. Now, that would be one thing that would probably have you...
Hypothetically. You don't know that for a fact.
I don't know that for a fact.
You don't know if the Pac-Man machine shut down.
I don't know that. I don't even know if any
Sparks
of this happened.
You don't know any of that.
Hypothetically, if that happened, they probably would say you're not welcome back anymore.
Correct. If one of their arcade machines went out of order.
Yeah.
You don't know that for a fact, but reportedly.
Correct.
So I say, look, dude, I know the band. There's no way anybody works there from 6 years ago. We're on the list.
I know the band.
Let's do this. And you go, got you. I'll try it, but just know that I warned you.
I was confident that it wasn't happening.
Oh, no, you were pessimist all the way.
Yeah.
And I was optimist. And we pull up, we park, and there's a line that is so deep in this parking lot.
Through the parking lot.
And we're standing there, and I'm talking no exaggeration. There is 50 people in front of us. Minimal 50 people. And you're a big guy, so you stand a little bit above the crowd, and we're standing there, and literally, this guy, the bouncer, leans out. He's checking people's IDs, and from 50 people deep, he leans out and he goes, Cubelic, you're banned for life. Out.
No shot.
I'm like, what? It just happened. And you go, I told you, let's back him up. You were so defeated. You were so defeated. And I was like, what's the chances of a dude working here for 6 years at the door that remembers Cubelic on site? I was like, that was pretty amazing. Dude, we had to get the band to vouch for us.
He came out.
Everybody.
Dave Lineham.
The band
in the
came
band.
out.
They go on intermission, and he comes to the front door and says, I got him.
My band's
It's fine.
name is staked on these guys.
Us are playing.
We'll never play again if they cause problems.
I hope he didn't put that on it.
He did.
That might be why he hadn't been back.
Yes, that's why they shut down. Lineham quit playing. That's why they shut down. That was the night I saw you consume a whole sack full of crystals.
Well, you get hungry.
But what amazed me, it wasn't the amount of
a lot of energy that day.
It wasn't the amount of the crystals. It's we went through the crystals drive-through, and you told the lady said, "Do you need anything?" And you said, "We need lots of ketchup." And she said, "Okay." And she got a handful of ketchup, and she threw in the bag, and you went, "Ma'am, I said lots of ketchup." And she put some in, and you go, "Are you not gonna give us ketchup?" And so she threw more ketchup. So if you don't know what the crystal sack full at the time, it was 24 crystals with 4 fries and 4 drinks. And you ordered a sack full and looked at me and said, "What are you getting?" Because we love gluten.
Oh,
But my favorite is
crystals is good gluten, buddy.
my favorite is I jokingly thought, well, he's just making her put ketchup in there until we got home and saw every bite was a pack of ketchup. You loved the ketchup
I
on the
still
crystals.
do love ketchup. It has gluten, right? I think it does. I don't
I
know.
don't know if ketchup has gluten or not.
I could shred a sack full of crystal back in the day.
Is that your weakness is pizza though?
Yeah, that's number one. But crystal back in the day after you had been out, that's tough to beat, man. Those chili cheese fries, oh baby, those things were solid.
Oh baby!
And then I got on a corn pup kick for a while.
Well, I love the chili cheese tots. Those are hard to beat.
They
From
have
Sonic?
tots at Crystal now. Oh,
No, at
Sonic.
Sonic.
Yeah.
Oh, the chili cheese pup from Crystals is strong.
Oh, my dog's going nuts up there.
Chili
She
cheese
wants to get
tots.
down here.
All right, you got time or we?
We're good. We got a little more time.
All right,
I gotta
so-
help get the kids to bed here in a few minutes.
All right, so let's knock out this because this is a subject that really tears people apart, and I want
Oh boy.
social media is going to have a field day with this.
Best Little Debbie.
We could go Little Debbie Mt Rushmore, which really gets people fired up. I was going to go sport, not a sport.
Oh, you're just trying to make me mad. It's been a nice day.
It is.
Done 2 radio shows today. Hadn't seen my kids much today, and I
Right.
got to go help put them to bed.
gonna get
You're
you
gonna try
riled
to
up.
piss me off before I go do
Well,
that.
I'm not going to mess you up. I'm going to let you give your answer,
Yeah, fine.
and then we'll let social media do the blowback
Sure.
since they already give you blowback.
And I won't see it for 30 days.
Right.
So that's
So-
good.
No, this is going to air after it's over, so you're going to be in the prime. I got to get your push.
Okay.
I gotta get Cubelic dust
All
rubbed on me. All right, so you have a theory: sport, not a sport. What is your definition of what a sport is?
To be a sport,
Definitive scoring system.
There has to be a definitive scoring system.
Okay.
There has to be some sort of direct physical interaction between the 2 participants.
Between the participants, physical interaction,
Now that doesn't mean necessarily bumping into each other,
but
but
physical interaction.
physically competing against one or more of the other participants.
Okay.
Has to have that
Anything else?
definitive winner.
Okay.
I don't know. I think
Okay.
that's it.
I just want you to lay the ground rules because then
Yeah.
I'm gonna run through like we've done before.
Yep.
Because this broke out on our radio show early
Oh
on,
yeah.
and it kind of blossomed into a whole deal.
Yeah,
and
people don't like it.
people keep tossing in things that go, well, if that's your criteria, what about this? And then
Okay.
when you all right,
I
so
feel like you've thought about this and you're going to try to trick me, but okay.
no, I'm not. I'm
I'm
not. I'm
ready.
gonna lay it out and let you defend yourself.
All right,
I'm not gonna argue with you about any
I
of it.
don't have to defend myself.
So,
It's my opinion.
Of course, the big 4: basketball, football, soccer, all that's definitive scoring system,
Yep.
physical interaction.
Yes.
Gymnastics,
No.
definitive scoring system.
When do they compete against another participant?
Well, they're going. There's a first, second, and third. There's a podium.
There's a podium? What are you talking about?
There's a winner.
Yeah, there's also a trampoline and a horse.
Horse.
The thing they jump off. It's called a horse, right?
Right.
Listen, I'm not taking away from gymnasts. What they do is incredible.
They're athlete. Are they athletes?
It is an athletic event.
Are they athletes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Doesn't mean it's a sport.
Marvelous athletes, yes. That's the thing about the Olympics.
Uh-oh.
Most things in
Oh, no. Oh, no, you're getting ahead of me.
what do they call Olympics? An Olympic what?
Olympic sport.
You're wrong, and you're lying, and you're doing it on purpose. You know damn well.
Olympic event.
Exactly. And that's why they call it that, because they know it's not a sport.
Okay. NASCAR.
Race.
Are they athletes?
Mm-mm. Drivers.
Cole Cubelic.
No.
They lose like 20 pounds
That's
while they're
fine.
driving.
Good. I go sit in the sauna and lose 20 pounds. That doesn't make me an athlete. Have you walked outside in Alabama in the summer?
Have you?
You're not an
Have
athlete.
you ever turned a car going 140 miles an hour?
I have. Thankfully, Hannah let me take my truck out to Talladega one time, and I drove it on there.
You saw how much pressure it
I
took.
got a lot of respect for what they do, and it's a cool event.
It's
but
mentally
it's not a sport.
taxing.
No, man. It's a race. It's a race.
But they're physically
I
up
don't-
against each other?
Most events that qualify as a race are not going to be a sport for me.
So,
Like the 100-meter dash. That's
I was
not
about
a
to say.
sport. It's not a sport. It's not a sport.
Michael
cross-
Johnson, he's an
cross-country-
athlete.
Cross country is one that we could probably argue. Like motocross is a good one because like you can
Motocross
elbow,
on the motorcycle?
yeah, you can like elbow people. You can ram people off. I mean,
Not
I don't
on
think
the
they do it on
motorcycle,
purpose.
though.
They don't do it on purpose, but you can make physical contact with people.
They bump cars in NASCAR?
But it's a car.
There's more bumping in NASCAR than on motocross. They don't bump each
But
other.
the humans are bumping in motocross. Like
they
you're
don't
running
like
into a person.
They don't like it. They don't-
Maybe
They
not.
don't like
Maybe
it in
not.
NASCAR.
All right, let's move on.
Rubbin's racing.
What else you got?
So you no gymnastics.
No.
Nothing in basically nothing in Olympics. No running,
Ice skating?
no shooting, no ice skating, speed skating.
It's close because you can bump guys in that too. I don't think you're supposed to, but still a race.
It's
not
basically a
sport.
race on
It's
ice.
a race. Yeah.
What do you get the most grief over? Because you did this on social media before.
NASCAR.
Really?
Golf guys get really mad too. I don't
Oh,
think golf's
golf.
a sport.
Definitive scoring system.
Yeah, and where's your physical interaction against your opponent?
They got to walk.
Yep, they do. Up and down hills. And
There's a lot of yards.
a lot of them. But you compete against the course. So you're playing against grass.
Yeah, but
and
my
water.
score has got to be better than yours.
It does. Yep. Same thing with the ACT.
Definitive scoring.
Same thing with the ACT, and that's not a sport either.
So is Tiger Woods an athlete?
He is an athletic human.
Is John Daly an athlete?
He is a human that has athletic tendencies.
Have you seen him hit a golf ball off a beer can? Drop it 300
I didn't say he
yards?
didn't have skills. I just said he's not an athlete.
So golf and NASCAR is what you get the most go
Yes,
from.
100%.
Boxing.
Actually, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm wrong. We are
What?
wrong.
What?
We had this happen on air. You should remember this.
What?
There is one segment of this audience that goes against this that hands down takes the cake, gets more upset about this than anybody else.
Boxing. Wrestling.
Absolutely a sport. Wrestling is the sport. It's the original sport.
But what about boxing? That's not a definitive scoring system.
That does make it a little bit tricky, but you can definitively win by knocking somebody out. You put
Okay.
them on the ground. And I believe that's what was the intentions to what it was supposed to do when it was
Let's
invented.
go 20
so-
rounds. Basically, they wanted somebody to knock
Correct.
each other out.
Now, the one you're leaving out, the one that causes the most trouble for me anytime this comes up, and I will get tweets and emails and hate calls about this.
At Cole Cubelic, Cubelic.
Competitive cheerleading.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
You talk about making some folks mad.
And
We ruined some days, by the way.
definitive scoring system.
If there are parents listening to this podcast who have children, male
Right.
or female, in competitive cheerleading, who are listening to this,
They travel.
they might. Is this episode 1?
Not episode 1, but
Well, they're not listening anymore. You
you're-
just lost them. They're done. They are done.
I'll make it
with
deep
this.
in the series.
You got to put me last. They get, but you remember now
Yeah.
Cube Kid Show, we had
they
multiple
got
people,
mad.
multiple moms called in. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
They got mad.
You seen the work those girls put in? You seen them jump?
But again,
You go do back handspring double flip.
But again, you didn't say they weren't athletes.
No, they're
You
definitely
said it's not a
athletic.
sport.
They contain skill. It's just not a sport. Yeah. Why does everything have to be a sport? I don't understand it. Like esports. Why can't you just be playing a video game, man? It's not a sport. Stop trying to make it a sport, dude.
What if the game is going like what if it's Tecmo Bowl?
Why are you trying to do this?
What are we going
Why
against
are you
each other?
trying to make a video game a sport? It's not.
Tecmo Bowl, we're going against each other.
The video game is going against each other.
Yeah, but
we're
we're
controlling
controlling
the video game.
Yeah.
Right. So not a sport, no.
But
There's
it's
no
called,
physical interaction between us at all.
But
None.
you said it's called an Olympic event. These are called esports.
It's a fair point by you, and I'm not sure I have a rebuttal for
Drone racing.
that. Hobby?
Fishing.
Waste of time.
See, this is where you get in trouble. If you just say not a sport, you start bad mouthing them. That's
I'm
where
just
you
being
get,
honest with you.
That's where you get
I
bad
thought I was
mouth.
supposed to be honest on this podcast.
Okay, you are. You are. Okay. All right, since you brought it up real quick, Little Debbie Mt Rushmore, real quick. No arguments. Nutty Buddy's on there.
How many are on Mount Rushmore? 4?
Yeah. Nutty Buddy's on there.
Oatmeal cream pie's on there.
Oh, I agree. And Nutty Buddy, right?
I'll give you.
Nutty Buddy.
You know I like those peanut butter bars better than Nutty Buddies.
The peanut butter bars.
Christmas trees are on there. Don't even try to act like they're not.
So you have this
Don't
thing.
do it. Don't do it. Don't
But
even
it's
try
basically a zebra cake.
I don't care if it's seasonal. Zebra cake doesn't have the green and red sprinkles. This
They don't.
thing
I was about to
does.
say it's a
Or
zebra cake.
gemstones, whatever they are on that thing, but they are. They make it good, whatever it is.
Well, what about the Valentine's cake? It's the same thing.
But it's not. I
It's
agree.
not the
And
Christmas tree?
You send. I get a random photo from you every season of
Yeah.
a new one that they come
They
out
do.
with. It's like the
The
Halloween.
fall cake, and it's got orange and black sprinkles. Harvest cake. Huh?
Oktoberfest cake.
Fall Fest fingerlings, and they got orange and black.
Start a summer cake.
All right,
and it's
so
like
you're
a
doing
flower.
Christmas cake, Christmas trees.
Got to be on there. Got to
Okay.
be on there.
You're doing Christmas trees and oatmeal pies so far. Is what
100%.
you
in.
definitely said in.
Swiss cake roll not in there.
You tell me. This is your Mount Rushmore.
The Swiss cake roll's got to be in there.
Okay.
See, this is where I'm gonna lose people because.
So you hadn't put Nutty Buddy, which really offends me. But go ahead.
I'll go. Oh man. See, here's my thing.
Raisin cream.
No, you tried to get me on that one time. It's not even good. I don't know what you're doing with that. And then you got the chocolate one that's the same thing with chocolates instead of raisins. Those aren't good. Those
Oh
are
no,
not
that
good.
was not good.
They're not good.
That should be good, but I don't know what they're doing wrong with
But
it.
here,
they're doing
here
wrong.
is the thing, and people don't like this because you can get a lot of different ones of them, and you can get
Dunkin'
other brands.
sticks. The donut
No.
sticks.
No, honey bun.
Okay.
Wow, you're really let down by that.
Yeah, I am.
You're really bummed.
It's kind of plain.
Honey bun's so good though.
I think Nutty Buddy's better than Honey Bun.
I'm not gonna be mad at it, but for me, I would probably take a honey bun over any of them right now.
I do think Swiss cake roll's got to be on there. See, I just go zebra cake. I feel like it was the original.
No,
I see what you're saying. The Christmas tree's got the
gemstones.
sprinkles, the gemstones.
the crystals.
You get passionate about the crystals. No fudge rounds. The fudge rounds. That's what you're thinking.
Worst.
Well, I kind of like the fudge rounds.
I wouldn't feed those to my dogs. So if we do a combo together, we're both going oatmeal cream.
Oatmeal's
pies.
got to be on
Yeah.
there. Swiss cake's got to be
Yeah.
on there. You go Christmas tree and I go zebra.
But you can. So we'll agree on Christmas tree because you admit it's better than a zebra cake. It is. It just is.
No, it's
No, it is. Don't say it's not. Just because you can't get it year round doesn't mean it's not better.
I don't know.
It's not true.
Because
It's
why
better.
ain't the Valentine's better? It's the same gemstones.
It's not.
different
It's pink ones, and they're not as good.
It's the same
Why is the Christmas tree better than all the other
It's
ones?
different food color. It's you mentally.
No.
It's you mentally.
No. That is not placebo effect. It's better than all of them. It's
placebo.
better than all of them.
If I gave you those gemstones with the blindfold on,
I would eat a handful of them right
you'd
now.
eat the Fall Festival fingerlings
all
over
of them.
any of them.
Every bit of them.
No.
Every bit.
If I gave you them, you go, hey, these are great. And I'd go, those are harvest cakes. And you wouldn't know the difference in Christmas trees. I'm
all right,
telling
so let's just say we do a hybrid of the seasonal cake, and that's in.
Like if you
What's
threw
fourth?
the gemstones on a regular zebra cake.
Might be good, but I don't need the chocolate. I'd rather have the red and green.
See, here we go.
Okay, so if we just do that hybrid,
I say
what's
Nutty
fourth?
Buddy. You say Honey Bun.
Yeah, I got it. I got to, man. And I know I can go get a Krispy Kreme honey bun or whatever the off-brand.
Yeah, whatever the off-brand
Bunk honey bun. It's called like Honey BUNZ, whatever it's called.
HUNNY.
Exactly.
The Honey
Yes,
Bunny.
the ghetto honey bun. We can get that.
Honey Bunny. What are we missing? Are we missing something obvious? I think that's it.
I think that's it.
I mean, the
man.
rest of them I think are fringe.
No,
What about
there's
the
not another-
cosmic brownie or stuff like
Yeah,
that?
no. Mm-mm. Those peanut butter bars are legit though. You eat the crunch around them and then just have the peanut butter left.
Wait, what's the peanut butter? Not the not talking about
It's
Nutty
like
Buddy.
a half circle. It's like a speed bump in a peanut butter bar. It's chocolate with peanut butter in the middle of it. It's like a speed bump. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen that. They're not real popular, but man, they are good. I'm just telling you. I'm here for
Like
it.
a speed bump.
It
It's
does.
like a peanut butter Swiss cake roll.
Yeah, but it's crunchy. It's crunchy. It's got crunch.
Are you sure that's Little Debbie?
It's essentially a Twix.
But is it a snack cake? Or are you sure it's Little
Oh,
Debbie?
no, Little
brand?
Debbie makes this.
For sure.
Yeah. It wouldn't qualify as snack cake 'cause it's more of a bar. But then Nutty Buddy
It's more of a
Nutty
bar.
Buddy can't be a snack cake.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's Little Debbie, though.
Yeah, it's Little Debbie brand. 100%.
Okay. There's your Rushmore. You're going
I know
honey
my
bun,
Debbies. I know my Debbie.
honey bun, Christmas tree, oatmeal, and what was the fourth? What was the fourth?
Oatmeal Swiss cake roll is in
Swiss
there.
cake roll.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
buddy.
Mount Rushmore of Little
That's
Debbie's.
it. That's all you need. You don't need all those other.
All right, so we got
fancy
everybody
ones.
riled up here at the end. We got your history.
If you're eating those raisin things, I don't trust you. I bet you vape.
Don't trust you.
I bet you vape if you eat those raisin things.
You
bet.
vape. I bet you. I bet you wear those things that keep your sunglasses from sinking in the water. Croakies. I bet you wear those, and you don't go fishing.
Do they
So
even make those
You wear them
anymore?
on land.
You wear
You don't even go in the water.
You wear them dry.
Right, you wear them dry. All right. Okay. We got everybody riled up at the end.
Got it. We're good.
All right. So tell them where they can find you. We got the Jocks Radio Network if you're in Alabama.
Yep, jocksfm.com, 10 to 2 every day.
All over the
Even if
state.
You know what? And that works on the internet outside of Alabama. I know you find that hard to believe, but
It
it's
is weird.
True. It
It's
is
weird.
true.
Got the app if you want it on the smartphone, tablet, online.
WJOX.
Sirius XM, is that sporadic? Is that regular?
Yeah,
What's happening?
it's random. SEC channel or channel 84, just randomly.
Stay tuned to that if you're a sports fanatic. During the fall, they can see on the SEC Network Saturday night game, right?
Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and myself. Hopefully, they put us back together and we have that game again. I'd love to have it. So, I was
If
excited.
not, this will be edited out. If you hear this part, that's a good sign for Cole
Yeah,
Cubelic. He's on the road again.
Exactly.
And then where can they find you back on social media?
At Cole Cubelic, all of them.
Everywhere.
Twitter, Insta, Snap, and I think that's the only ones that are left.
So when you want to argue about snack cakes, when you want to argue about
Twitter.
sport and auto sport,
If you want to see my 2019 GMC Sierra, thanks to my friends at Royal Buick GMC,
that plug in.
RoyalBuickGMC.net, you go to Insta. Or
And-
if you want to get your ass kicked in soccer, go to Snapchat.
you do own me in Snapchat soccer. You murder me in Snapchat.
How about the fact that
Undefeated.
I will crush you and you won't open your Snap for like 4 weeks at a time?
Because
after
it's
that.
just defeated. Well, my favorite is you tweeted
I'm
after
like, I know he sees that he's getting that. He's just not going to open
my
it.
favorite is after the first game. You tweeted, "I'm unstoppable," and I got mad, and then you were unstoppable. Because you're also unstoppable at Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, that's
Open wide, open nationwide challenge right now, right?
Yep.
Anybody wants to challenge you in Tecmo
I'll
Bowl?
take it.
And
I'll
they
let you
can pick
your
Bo
team
Jackson?
first. Yeah, you can have Bo Jackson. You can have the Raiders if you want to. If that's your strategy, go for it.
What's the closest anybody's got lately that you can remember?
I haven't played in a while.
21-10 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was like 21-3 or something.
14 points. Yeah.
I can remember somebody was like within a couple
I think
touchdowns.
Jay Plunk kept it close up there at Conrad's place.
In Huntsville. So, all right. So, if you think you're good at Tecmo Bowl,
SaveWithCole.com. You should visit that if you need a new mortgage.
I'm pretty sure that you can go with SaveWithCasio.com.
That's a bunk website. It doesn't work.
No, it's pretty hopping.
SaveWithCole.com. If you have credit card debt, you can consolidate it there.
Just check the features at SaveWithCasio.com.
I don't know about features, but if you're looking for bonuses like refinancing your home, SaveWithCole.com's got
Hang
it.
on. Yep, just looked at the menu. It's right there. It's Save with Casio.
I picture Save with Casio has a calorie counter in the menu. Has what's gluten and gluten free.
All right. Follow him at Cole Cubelic. It was always good. Cube Kid rides again.
One more time.
Is that still out there somewhere?
It is. I don't know how to get into it, but it's dead.
Somebody's got the login info to that. You can check it out. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening again to Casio's Cut. And thanks for listening. Join us next week.
That's the way I wanna be. I'll be a white trash superstar. That's the way I wanna be. I'll be a white trash superstar.
Hey, if you can't get enough Casio, check him out at his real job. Yeah, the one that actually pays the bills. Listen to the Jimbo and Casio Morning Show live 6 to 10 a.m. Central on TheRocket951.com.
New survey asks people to name the top inventions of the past 25 years.
Instapot. Air fryer.
No.
Those are my two things. Oh, they're not cooking utensils?
No.
They're not?
No.
Fix-A-Flat.
No.
What? What else is it? I'm just thinking of things I might use.
Well, number one on the list was Wi-Fi.
Oh!
That one kind of worked. That beat the Instapot just barely. I don't know about
Wi-Fi.
cooking utensils.
I could have sworn the air fryer was going to be on there because there's no better way to make sweet potato fries than the air fryer.
I mean, it got beat out by number two, smartphones.
Oh, those little things. Oh, smartphones. Yeah.
Number three, online banking.
Love that stuff. Love that stuff.
I mean, it's no air fried sweet potato fries, but I mean, it'll do in a pinch.
Listen live online or download the Rocket app for your tablet or smartphone. Just search WRTT Rocket 95.1 in the Apple or Google Play Store.